Hey everyone, I have read your goals and objectives today and have provided you feedback in the rubric that's associated with your goals and objectives. I've also given you substantial feedback on your actual document. You're going to want to go into Blackboard and look at the feedback that's on your submitted form. It's going to be in red font on your paper in appropriate areas. And then you may have a little bit of feedback in the rubric, but not so much in the rubric. Just make sure you go in and read that feedback. What I enjoy about this assignment is watching you think critically about the work that you're going to be doing and planning to get that done. It's almost like watching somebody write up a dream or write up something they're exciting, looking forward to. Maybe not quite as exciting as a vacation plan, but it's exciting for me to see you put together your ideas about what you aspire to accomplish and what that looks like in developing your professional role as a nurse educator. That's the reason you're doing this program, is so that you can develop competence in the role of the nurse educator. So it's kind of interesting for me to watch you think about that. It's important for you to go back in, even if you were given feedback that you had done such an excellent job that you were okay to start your practicum with a draft version. You were given that feedback. That doesn't mean that you don't have work to do. Everybody has got work to do. So go in and look at the feedback that's provided. I want to remind you that your goals for your practicum should be written in a format that clearly reflects that they are about you. They should state that you will be demonstrating advanced proficiency or proficiency, depending on where you are in your skill development, in working towards one of the specific roles of the nurse educator. So if you are working on developing your skills as a change agent, you would write a skill. You would write a goal that would say that you would demonstrate. For many of you, you're not change agents in your current role, so it would be develop proficiency or competence. So you would be developing proficiency in the role of the change agent within the healthcare system, within the college setting, within an undergraduate environment, within a nurse educator role in a hospital setting. Lots of ways you can provide that, but it should be very clear, very succinct that you're talking about your growth and development and how that applies to the specific roles that the NLN competencies lays out for us. And there are 8 of them. So when I go through and I highlight, what you're talking about in your goals, I should be able to see, okay, goal 1 is all about becoming a change agent. So objectives 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on should be directly related to what it looks like for you to become a change agent. What's that blueprint? And those objectives should be broad. They should be measurable. All of this should have some tone of, and this is when I will accomplish it. And if for you, you're going to be working across the next 3 courses, your measurability may be that by the end of this practicum experience, I will accomplish these things. It may be a way that you'll measure it is that you will say that you will accomplish 5 to 8 of something. You don't ever want to accomplish something once. If you're able to do it once, it's a task. If you say that you will design a teaching plan appropriate for Nursing 118, that's a task. That means that you can do it once and go, yep, done. And you check it off the list and you move on. That's not an objective. So I want you to go back through and make sure that a goal is a goal, and that's about you and one of the roles of the nurse educator that aligns with the NLN core competencies, that your objectives are measurable and specific to that methodology that you'll use to accomplish the goal, and that there aren't tasks embedded in your objectives. And folks, it is really easy to get on a roll and start writing and you forget that you're too narrow in creating a task. The other thing I want to remind you is to go in and look at your verbs. You were told that you needed to use Bloom's taxonomy at the application or higher level. If you are new in your role of an educator, you're going to be right around that application section, kind of in the middle of the road. If you are, if you've been at this a while, you're going to work towards the higher end of Bloom's. Please take those verbs seriously. I realize that it really crunches your creative juices and it limits your ability to use verbs that maybe you're more comfortable with. But we want to be crisp, and again, going back to being clear in what do I mean by this verb? What does it say? Is it measurable? Is it clear? So those are some areas that I want you to go back through and review using that lens to look at your goals and objectives and make revisions. So if you've been cleared to go ahead and start your practicum, go forward with my blessing, but that does not mean you don't have work to do and that a final submission still has to be done and it will be graded. If you got feedback and you were just lost in the wilderness, you have no idea what I'm talking about, or you're just frustrated, send me an email and let's talk. We'll work through whatever your confusion is. I won't write your goals and objectives for you, but I'm certainly willing to help walk through that process. It is so important that you get this right because you are going to take all of these and you're going to work through the next 3 courses for. So if they're a hot mess right now and they're not clear and they're task oriented and they're ambiguous, when you're about halfway through 619, you're going to be pulling your hair out, and whomever's teaching you and precepting you will also be unclear about where you're headed. So let's do it right the first time. Okay, so that's this week. Let's move on to teaching philosophy. Your teaching philosophy next week is about you as a teacher. What are your thoughts about what teaching means? What does it mean? How do you value teaching? What are your values and beliefs about teaching? What are your goals in teaching? All of those need to be clearly expressed, and they need to be aligned with a theoretical framework. If you value caring, and you think you really like Watson's caring theory, and that's a cornerstone for your teaching practice, then when you talk about your values and your beliefs about teaching, it needs to align with Watson's caring theory and the carnitas that go with it. If you when you prepare to write your philosophy, I want you to be thinking about a philosophy of practice and that should be bumper sticker worthy. You want a couple of sentences, no more than 2 or 3, that you could literally put in pretty little italics and put on a little bumper sticker that says, and this is who I am, ta-da. It needs to be short and it needs to be concise. It needs to be kind of your succinct way of saying, and this is who I am as an educator. This is me at my core. And it should not take you 5 pages to tell me that. You should start your paper with clearly articulating your philosophy. And the rest of the pages are tying that philosophy to a theoretical framework, tying that philosophy to what you value, what your beliefs are and what your goals are as an educator, tying that philosophy and giving a demonstration of an exemplar of when you've seen this or when you've done this in practice. So be sure that you are very clear. One of the things I've noticed students do is they wander off into the forest and they start picking berries and bark off trees and they forget they're writing a philosophy paper. Be clear. Start out clear. I'm going to encourage you to please open your APA book. These kinds of papers as you go through 618, I expect to be seeing level headings, level 1 and level 2. I expect that your APA reference page is done appropriately and in following APA formatting. Lots of cool things out there. I just recently learned that APA has its own Twitter feed. If you are someone that tweets, it's a great tool. You can follow them and they give you all sorts of nuggets of wisdom for APA formatting. There is also an APA Facebook site, which I know this sounds really nuts, but it's very dull. But if you want to focus, if you know APA is not your thing or it's not something you're very good at, please consider using kind of these social media things to improve your knowledge and your competency. The great thing about the Twitter feed is that you can tweet them an APA question and they tweet you back. I haven't tried it yet because I'm not very good at Twitter, but I'm going to practice and I'm going to see how it goes. Just know that that's out there. Know that your book is your best source. If you have questions or concerns, holler at me and let me know. My goal is to be able to give you feedback on your goals and objectives. If you're still out there and still working, week 3 is your final draft. So if that is going to be your next opportunity to be approved. Again, my plan that week is to get to do your reviews on Monday. I clear my schedule in the first half of the week to do a lot of the grading because I know that you're tapping your foot and waiting for feedback. So know that if you're waiting in the wings to start your practicum, the earliest you're going to be able to do that is when you get your feedback for week 3, which is going to be at the beginning of week 4. So plan on getting some hours that week, and I would plan on doing it later in that week, like Thursday and Friday, so you have some hours on your log 1 related to your practicum. It's not uncommon for students to be in this position, so do not be stressed. Remember that you can earn up to 10 hours working on your goals and objectives to add in your log. So know that you're not wasting time. You're not losing time. It's just going to be a little bit more later loaded in the course if necessary. Okay, it is almost time for me to go walk puppies, so I'm going to let you guys go. Touch base and let me know how you are. Use the Ask the Professor link for generic questions about how do I do, where do I find kind of things. Specific questions to your own growth and development or grades, send those to me by email. Folks, know that I'm praying for you, know that I'm thinking about you. And I'll let you go. Touch base and let me know how you are.